Are you ready for some Just the Facts? Because
yes, I am.
Here we are. So one of the reasons why you didn't see Jake Moody kick many field goals, certainly in opening drives, is because of how efficient the Niners were on opening drives. The 49ers scored 491 points in the 2023 regular season. It's the second most points scored in team history. The 1994 team scored 505. So one of the reasons you weren't seeing an awful lot of those kicks is because this offense really got its job done. And that's what you're looking for. You don't want a whole bunch of field goals. You want bigger scores than that. And the Niners certainly provided for them, scoring 10 times in 17 games, 10 touchdowns on the opening drive. That is preparation. That's focus. That's coming out with the right, the right opening drive script. Kyle Shanahan is very, very good at this. And I'm going to tell you, looking to see in all upcoming playoff games, did the 49ers score on their opening drive? Larry, I don't know if they're going to lose a game that they do that in. They do that. They usually win. They really do. So that's a big indicator right away. In any game you see going forward, did the Niners score on their opening drive? Was it a touchdown? If you check both boxes as yes, you're off to a really good afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, they get off to good starts. They had a great, I agree with you. They had a great game plan yesterday. I think it was a 12-play or 11-play drive. It was like seven runs. So they came out in a run-heavy deal, but Darnold made some nice passes, and they jumped on the board early, and they looked sharp early. So they got things going the way they wanted to get them going, and then, of course, they wound up losing, but because they got shut out in the second half. And really couldn't do anything. I mean, the second half offensively.
I was told they lost the game because of their kicker.
That was part of it. That was part of the reason they didn't score in the second half.
So, 6,773 yards, the second most gained by the Niners in any one season. Moved the ball 6,800 yards right on the dot in 1998. Again, 10 opening drive touchdowns in 17 games. The 76 points altogether on opening drives led the NFL this season. The next game, Larry, just the facts. The next game that Kyle Shanahan coaches will already be his 10th playoff game with the 49ers. And should he win it, he'll be 7-3 in his first 10 playoff games. And if you're winning playoff games at a 70% clip, folks, you're a pretty goddamn good head coach.
There's the people that were Brock Purdy wasn't good enough. When Brock Purdy shut them up and said, I am plenty good enough, they pivoted to Shanahan. Yeah, and tell me who you'd rather have. I'd love to hear. I'm all ears. Who do you got?
Well, again,
the guy's 1-1 and has a great playoff record. His offense produces points. They've been now in 3 of the last 4 NFC Championship games. He hasn't climbed to the top of the mountain, but those same people that are saying Shanahan, were saying the same thing about Andy Reid. And I think Eagle fans right now would trade Sirianni for Andy Reid in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Mickelson, he can't win it. Oh, never mind. He's won several majors when it's all said and done. There is always that guy who is the best to have yet to done it. Look, what I'm basically saying is if you need to see the mountain climber at the very top of the mountain before you can even admit, this guy's pretty good at climbing mountains, you don't know as much about mountain climbing as you think about. This guy knows what he's doing. Kyle Shanahan is a very, very good coach. And again, if you are going to give Brock Purdy nothing but demerits, how can you in the same breath be saying, and Kyle's a bad coach? That doesn't line up. Because if the guy isn't a very good player, that must be some incredible coaching and scheme and system that is coming in. So you can't have it both ways. You want to denigrate one, you got to kind of prop up the other in the same sentence. You can't say neither one of these guys knows what they're doing as they're sitting at home waiting for the lowest seed to advance because they're the 1 seed. They know what they're doing. Let's see if they can get it done in the postseason. Kyle has never failed to win at least 2 playoff games in any of his postseasons as head coach of the Niners. He's already got 6 postseason wins as the head coach of the Niners. And like you said, he is looking to reach the NFC title game for the third straight season in a row and for 4 times in 5 years. So they've been knocking on the door. That's why the pressure to win could not be any greater than it is right now, because in all of the door knocks, I don't think they've ever shown up on the front porch this good, this well prepared, this experienced, and most importantly, this healthy. It's not now or never, but boy, it really is now. It's now. The Niners need to win the Super Bowl now. The next 3 games are the biggest 3 games of Kyle's life.
And he knows it. I mean, I don't know if you saw his interview, Damon, that he did with Papa last week, but I mean, he's very focused. He's very focused. The bye week, is not going to be an off week for the 49ers. The bye week is going to be a work week for the 49ers. John Lynch said, hey, Kirby Smart calls the bye weeks work weeks. And, it's like they're going to grind. They're going to work. It's not, this whole idea. Well, Brock Purdy's going to be sitting. No, Brock Purdy's not going to be sitting on the couch. Brock Purdy took all the first team reps, not all, split the first team reps this week with Sam Darnold, and then showed up to the game yesterday, an hour and a half early and did all kinds of workouts before the game. They're not taking their foot as a coaching staff or as players off the gas pedal. They understand this is their window, and they're not going to, they're not coasting or looking for easy way outs. They're going to grind their way through this thing.
Not much to give you from a Just the Facts defensively, other than the season has come and gone, and one of the more impressive streaks remains alive for this defense. The entire season, not a single individual running back went 100 yards against the 49ers defense. This is 44 consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard individual rusher. I think that is a feather in the cap of this defense. And if you don't mind me saying, I want to bring that up to go to the nearly incredible first down that the Rams almost picked up yesterday. It was on 4th down, and it looked like Carson Wentz had gotten a just shoveling the ball as he is being sacked, a ball away to his running back, who then took it around the side for it looked like a first down, but then review showed that Wentz was down. His butt cheek was on the ground as he still had the ball in his hand. Did you see, Larry, you're at the game. I don't know how much you saw of it on TV when they showed the replay. Steve Wilkes lost his freaking mind on that play. He was throwing his play sheet. He was pissed off. I don't know if Steve Wilkes coming out of the press box has done anything other than really give us that moment, because Steve Wilkes would have thrown those papers in the press box. Oh, you got it. Here it is. Watch Steve Wilkes go nuts.
Wait.
Damn it.
Look at that. He pushed this guy in front of him. So he's mad. Oh, look at it. I mean, and that guy gets pushed a little bit. What did that guy do? Steve Wilkes I like Steve Wilkes with the Jordans. Look at that.
The angry flex at the end of it too.
Steve Wilkes is one of my favorites, man. Look at the intensity. Who wouldn't want that man on the sideline? That was great.
Get that guy a helmet.
Yeah,
he's
great.
ready to go out and play. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, Steve Wilkes was fired up. That's what I'm saying, man. These guys want it. They absolutely want it. Butthead says, I love Steve Wilkes showing his emotions. Yeah,
Can he kick? That's the question. Can he kick?
And the Niners are going to Steve Wilkes. We have an internal option. It's Steve Wilkes.
One last Just the Fact. Again, so many of the guys who we have Just the Facts about are playing these prolific seasons and setting team records or group of guys together records in terms of their production. Everyone was counting Puka Nacua yards and catches, and he did end up as the Puka Nacua just had one of the single greatest seasons in the history of rookie football. What a year for that rookie. I mean, he's an unbelievably talented wide receiver. The fact that they've got him, Cooper Kupp, and Tutu Atwell means, look, that's a dangerous football team. It might be
they're going to beat Detroit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
They're going to beat Detroit because, I mean, you got Cooper Kupp. I mean, think about the Rams. The Rams offensively, Stafford, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp,
They're a handful.
Puka Nacua. The tight end yesterday, if you noticed him out there, Davis Allen, the rookie from Clemson, he made some nice catches. Tutu Atwell's a burner. He stretches the field. They've got, I mean, they're going to score 30 on most defenses. And if you can't score 30, you're going to be hard pressed to beat them. They've got their defense is nothing right now, but man, their offense is scary.
We'll get there. Right? We're not previewing yet. We'll get there in a second.
I'm telling you, they're scary though.
I want to share one guy that we saw in limited repetitions yesterday, but Deebo Samuel is now on a very short list. Deebo Samuel had a 21 receiving yard afternoon and 11 rushing yards in the season finale, which gives him 4,122 receiving yards and 1,007 rushing yards in his career. This makes him just the second player in NFL history to record 4,000 or more receiving yards and 1,000 or more rushing yards in his first 5 seasons of his career. The only other guy to ever do that is Hall of Famer Charlie Taylor, who played for Washington way back in the day. Yeah. So that is, a very short list. When it's you and one other guy in the history of football, that's saying something. It means guys like this, cats like this, don't come around very often. You can see running backs who can catch the ball. It's very rare when you have a wide receiver who can run with a football like this guy does. It's what makes him special.
Great player. And, when you have a receiver who can run like Deebo, that means you can do something that the Rams can't do with Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua, or, the Bengals can't do with Jamar Chase. You can manufacture touches. So you can hand the ball to Deebo and get the ball in his hands anytime you want. And he's a major threat. I mean, he runs through you, but he can run by you. He's a very, very good player and a unique player at that.
So one last thing, and again, we've already talked about him thoroughly, but we will revisit this. Just the facts. These are the facts. It doesn't matter how you feel about Jake Moody. These are the facts. He missed a 38-yard field goal for his first miss of any kind since all the way back in week 7. That's a pretty good run. Moody then missed his first extra point after making an NFL record 60 straight to begin his career. And that is going back through an NFL that used to kick from the 3-yard line. So
what you're saying is the 49ers should have won 24-21 and instead lost 21-20 because their kicker left 4 points on the field.
I am saying that, Larry. That actually happened. Now, how much do you think that well, no, of course they wanted to win the game because they want to avoid going to Dallas. But I thought going for that 2-point conversion was just Sean McVay saying, yeah, there's going to be no overtime today. The worst thing in the world would be going to overtime and then somebody getting hurt in overtime. I'm going to go for the 2-point conversion. We make it, great. We're going to Detroit. We don't make it, I don't fucking care. We're just not going to overtime.
I asked Shanahan after the game, too. I'm like, how did you feel when McVay went for 2 there? And then I asked him, hey, did you guys have an agreement? Did you guys talk before the game that, hey, and it was probably more on McVay, to be honest, because the Niners had nothing to play for, where the Rams had something to play for. So the Rams probably should have. It was on McVay to make that call because they were the team that had something on the line. And I'm just glad that McVay did it. Went for 2. Unfortunately, they got the 2. But there you go. It was in the they asked Shanahan after the game, were you worried about injuries? He's like, every second of the game, I was worried about injuries. So
did you see when Nacua caught the pass to give him the rookie record, they cut to the sideline camera and McVay is just like, get him out.
Well, did you see what happened? I mean, at the Niners, first of all, the Niner players, and I'm not speaking for all of them, but I was in the locker room and I had a chance to talk to a few of them, didn't like the fact that Puka Nacua got the Pro Bowl nod over Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk had 1,300 and change yards on 97 targets. Puka Nacua had 1,400 and change yards on 150 targets. So Ayuk was the more efficient player this year. He's the veteran. He probably should have gotten the Pro Bowl nod over Puka Nacua, to be honest, and he didn't. And so the Niners were several Niner players, including Mooney Ward, were seemingly kind of pushed out of shape. And at the end of the first half,
Mooney Ward got toasted a couple times by the Rooks, so he shouldn't say too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, Puka. Nobody said Puka wasn't any good. They just felt like they it added to their resolve to try to shut him down. And at the end of the first half, when it was clear that the Rams wanted to throw Puka that one more pass, get the record, and then have him, take off the pads at halftime, the Niners doubled him on the last two plays of the first half, and we're like, no. Now,
Right.
He did get it a few plays into that third quarter, but they made him, put on the pads and come back out in the third quarter and try it. So I'm guarantee you they were hoping to, he only needed 29 yards for the record. So the odds that they were going to keep him under 29 yards was not good, but they wanted to, and they were going to do everything in their power to, and you could see it. Lenore, Mooney, these guys, they were high-fiving on the way off the field at halftime because they had denied Puka a couple catches on the final couple plays of the second quarter.
They were also up 20-7 at halftime and probably felt like this one's nearly in the barn today. And unfortunately shut out after halftime as so it was so dominating. The 49ers dominated time of possession in that first half, dominated it, like destroyed the Rams from a time of possession standpoint. And then when the game was over, the Rams had more time of possession than the Niners did, which meant they had the ball the entire second half. The 49ers ran 12 plays, I believe, like 12 plays in the second half, right before that final drive when Darnold turned it over. So however many plays that lasted before he turned it over.
The Niners were 3 and out in the second half a lot, and the Rams in the first half threw the pick on the very first play of their drive to Taylor Hawkins, and that's basically how we got to that point.
What I did like, even though it wasn't the most efficient afternoon, is that the Niners did some Niner things, even though the bodies in the jerseys changed and the players changed, still some similar offensive themes to be found. You got chunk plays. And that's the Niners are a big play football team. The not dinking and dunking. They make big plays. They get chunk plays. And there was a 20-yard pass to Werner on the opening drive by Sam Darnold that went off schedule and was a nice play. Jordan Mason with a 16-yard run up the middle in the early second quarter. Elijah Mitchell ran over Witherspoon coming around the left side. He picked up 14 yards. Chris Conley's first catch of the season, that went for 48 yards. So they were still picking up some big chunk plays and looked like the Niners, even though the names and the name plates had changed. It still looked a little Ninerish at times, and that's good. I mean, that's what you want when your backups come in. You have something that is similar to when your starters are out there. So I thought there were some good moments in a day that actually, didn't end up the way you wanted it to. But I really did think that it was one of the best executed game plans of the entire season. When you factor in the plan is an awful lot of our best players aren't playing today.
Well, and if you look at the stats coming into the game too, 49ers points per game, third in the league. 49ers total offense, which is yards, second in the league. 49ers rushing offense, third in the league. 49ers passing offense, second in the league. 49ers offensive possession average, third in the league. It's like every category. There's only one category the Niners are not top 10 in, and that's pass defense. Every other category, they're top 10 and in almost all cases, top 5.
Well,
top 3.
And I think that you can even say that the pass defense that's a number skewed to the fact that teams give up running on this team. They're playing from behind.
They're playing from behind.
And they just abandoned the running game in the name of we got points to make up. We got to score quickly. So I think that number is a little skewed. The Niners are a better pass defensive team than maybe their NFL ranking would indicate. How about this? I was worried about this secondary coming into this year. I'm really not that worried about the secondary going forward, Larry. Even with the season-ending injury to Hufanga, I thought that was going to tilt me to now I'm worried about it. Not really,
Well,
not.
I mean, here's the thing, and there's no way around this at this point. They have some older players that they want to lean on. They brought in Jason Verrett. He's hurt. He's done for the year.
He's done. I mean, Jason Verrett. God bless him. His body cannot take football.
Yeah, he's done. Great guy, but it's at the end. And then Logan Ryan made a couple nice plays yesterday. But ultimately, here we are. It's January the 8th, and the 49ers are going to have to lean on 5 very young DBs. Demo Lenore, Ambry Thomas, Jair Brown, Samuel Womack, and Darrell Luter Jr. Those 5 young DBs, all in year 1, 2, or 3, are going to have to step up and play some ball. And there's no way around that. So there's no cavalry to call. There's no reinforcements. Nobody's coming off the practice squad to help. There is no veteran at all that's going to be able to help them. They have drafted 5 DBs, and those 5 DBs are going to have to play. And Womack got burned a little bit yesterday, and Luter's barely played. And Jair Brown's coming off an injury, and but those 5, that's one of the keys for the 49ers is those 5 DBs have got to play ball under the pressure of January football. We're going to find out if they can do it.
This is why we go through a regular season to get to this point. The fun in a lot of ways is over, and in many more ways it hasn't even begun yet. I mean, here it comes. The most high leveraged corner of the high roller suite is where the 49ers are sitting in the corner table. So let's do it.